We're live on YouTube for a 400 subscriber special. Very special might be a bit generous. I am here with 4 excellent people: American Anarchist, some random geek, Luna Veg, also known as Ashley, and Kevin Logan. It's an all-star cast. It's frankly a privilege and a pleasure to be with such amazing people, and I hope you can all enjoy such an occasion. How are we?
Thank you, Owen. We are, or I mean, I can only speak for myself, but I'm doing pretty well.
Yeah, I'm good.
You can speak for me too. I'm doing pretty well too, but I'm also at work. But it's not the first time where I'm doing a hangout while at work. And Kevin and the American Anarchist was there when I did that too.
You actually did it on my channel too. You did it on Michael Rowland's channel, and you did it on my channel.
Well, technically on your channel, which was also another like subscriber milestone hangout, I was off of work, so I was on the bus like going home, and also because it was in Seattle, make sure that there was no guys wearing a Nazi swastika armband, which there wasn't at that time.
Nice.
Oh yeah,
if you see some of Nazis, it's generally a plus, isn't it?
I have to say, I find my brother's stance to be pretty funny. While I don't take the same exact stance my brother takes the stance on, like, the whole Richard Spencer punches. Well, I wouldn't advocate for assaulting Nazis, but, you know, if I'm not looking in that direction, I don't have to go and stop it.
I just find it with that whole thing, it's so obvious where people should stand. Like, people shouldn't be, defending someone with such a abhorrent view, and then you go and look at the state of social media, and there's always people like making these arguments saying, "Oh, you got to consider their feelings, you got to debate them." Like, even just today, I tweeted about it earlier. Just some guy essentially mocking someone for wanting to fight Nazis. It's like, well, what does that say about you? Like,
yeah,
pretty sure we had
I was just going to say, it strikes me that your brother, was the American Anarchist who said that? Your brother has the absolutely archetypical liberal approach to this, where they're happy for anti-fascists and more radical people to actually do the hard yards, and then they'll turn around and go, "Yay, we beat the Nazis."
He's not even like that. He's more of one of those people of like, if in the, like, basically the truth is always in the middle, is from what I'm like understanding.
Oh, one of those faux centrists.
The South Park philosophy, pretty much.
Yeah.
But I mean, he did take the stance of like, it's basically more like, I mean, at the very least, he sees that, from what it seems like he kind of gets that, like, Nazis kind of deserve to be punched. So it's kind of like I wouldn't advocate for it, but, I'm probably not going to stop it.
It's a start, isn't it? But like you said, Kevin, like the liberal slash centrist slash sort of apathist approach to it of just letting the Nazis and the far right be beaten by people willing to take a stand and willing to sort of show the actions that will defeat and beat them, and then saying, "Oh, well, it was us who did it. Our debates did it." It's like whitewashing history in a way, like looking at World War II. And saying, "Oh, well, it was."
We all know World War II was just a big debate.
Exactly. Exactly.
No, nobody died.
All of those German cities were flattened by good argumentation and strong points.
Oh yeah, and those.
It's
too. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Yep. I had my own part of the joke.
What happened was, there was no violence. The Allied forces just flew into Germany, saddled the French and gave them a stern talking to.
I mean,
we don't approve of what you're doing. Could you please stop?
Exactly. D-Day just stands for Debate Day. That's what happened. They got on the beaches and they had some panels and discussion groups and came to the conclusion that the Nazis were really rather bad, and they stopped.
Oh yeah.
Very simple.
Honestly, though, it's a little sad though that like us white people didn't come to debate them in time, and some of the Jewish people just died from how good the Nazi argumentation was. It's a good thing we were there to prevent them all from dying.
Exactly. It was the regressive left. They pushed people into the camps, literally, honestly. I am obviously being sarcastic.
You can even
It's
look
worth
at
pointing out. It's worth pointing out that as this is the internet, we are joking here. So any of the educationally bereft out there, just know we are joking.
Yeah. Oh, we're being being completely sarcastic to make fun of the like centrist liberal view.
Which, by the way, I'd rather have my younger brother be like a liberal centrist than what my younger brother is now, a gamer gainer, and last I knew last year a Trump supporter. So your brother, American Anarchist, has one up on my brother.
No, yeah, that's absolutely much preferable. And when I attack liberals, I don't mean to say that all liberals are inherently bad or anything at all. I mean, I think most of them are very well-intentioned, good people. And in terms of doing, reasonable legislative change, they're actually very, very good. Well, they can be very good. But in terms of more radical action, which is needed when things like the alt-right crop up,
they can also.
They've got no way of tackling that.
The sort of when we look at liberals as they're doing the job whilst in power, but then you have to consider that the system is sort of set up for them to take power anyway. Like you're never going to see a far left government arise in a capitalist democracy or democracy because
if you do, the Americans will quote unquote liberate you.
Yeah, exactly. Like
you're gonna liberate us. Yeah. Oh yeah, we tell America they're not allowed. A country like Iran tells British Petroleum they're not allowed to take oil anymore, and we just fuck them to the point that 50 years later they're living in a theocracy.
Exactly, yeah. But a theocracy that will happily engage in selling oil, and that's all they give a fuck about.
Yeah, well, you do know the whole situation that happened in Iran, right? Like this is one of the biggest. This is one of the big. Yeah, this is one of the biggest things that like influenced my politics, which is that British Petroleum basically wanted to. They were taking oil from Iran before, but the basically the Prime Minister of Iran had basically told British Petroleum no, that they were going to. They were basically choosing to nationalize their oil.
Mossadegh.
Yeah. So basically they nationalized the oil, and at first America kind of refused to go over there until the magic word was spoken, which is, but they are, and here's the magic word, communists. All of a sudden America has to break out. All of a sudden America has to break out its bat. America breaks out its bat just like anti-fascists do when they see a swastika.
But this is what's really peculiar. If capitalism is so fucking spectacular, why did it take vast amounts of imperialism on America's part? Surely they would have just won naturally.
Oh yeah, they would have just won the debate. Oh yeah, they wouldn't have needed the Enclosures Acts either to like take all the common land either.
Yeah.
But people would have just naturally privatized the land if it was completely natural state of being.
It's almost as though
the tragedy of the commons.
Almost as though capitalism isn't really as voluntary as they like to make it out to be.
Come on, Leftie.
I mean, you only have to look at the world itself to sort of see this, but
I'm voluntarily born into this world where I have almost no choice. Now that I think about it, wait a minute.
It's amazing, though, if you look at on the theme of American anti-communism, the Red Scare that took place in the 50s and stuff, the McCarthyism of the day, it worked perfectly because you have this entire generation of Americans who have been sort of conned into believing that capitalism has made their country amazing and that their lives are great because of capitalism. In reality, they're on minimum wage while their boss makes like billions off their labor. Their country is only wealthy because around the world have been plundered for their resources. And Like the
Well,
planet's on the verge of an ecological disaster.
And the country only exists because you slaughtered tens of millions of native folk and
Indigenous-
stole
yeah.
their shit.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yep.
And
Oh,
then
yeah,
we put
you know-
then we put that guy on the $20 bill.
Oh yeah. I mean, I have to say the funniest thing ever has to be the idea that fucking for ANCAPs, the idea that like, oh, people should be allowed to have their own property. Well, tell that to the American government in the 1700s when they fucking started expanding and
I mean-
really wiping out like Native Americans.
The
Tell that
fact
to
that,
Andrew Jackson. Tell that to Andrew Jackson that he's violating private property rights in quotes.
Yeah. The fact that anarcho-capitalism, like they even put anarchy in their name, is just a complete farce. Like, they're so
Yeah, well,
like beyond
I-
parody.
yeah.
That,
I'll actually reveal a little upcoming secret. One of the next episodes of my flagship series, The Scent of Manosphere, is going to be about an anarcho-capitalist, and I intend, although I'm sure I'll slip up once or
Which
twice.
one?
Is it
I
Mr.
don't know.
Dapperton?
Yes, it is.
You sh-
Okay,
you
he
should-
gets it. So yeah, it's him. Anyway, and so when pronouncing anarcho-capitalism, I intend to use the finger quotation thing every single time I say anarcho
Oh, yeah.
and anarcho-capitalist, which is going to be really annoying, but I'm going to have fucking killer abs by the end of it.
Okay, what's
we
up,
appear to have someone
Piper?
else who joined the Hangout. Hello, Piper, are you there?
Hi.
Hello?
Hello.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes, we can.
We can hear you.
Yeah, we can. Yeah, your sound's coming through quite well.
Okay, cool.
Gosh, we've got a full house here at the moment. 6 people. I think that's more than I have fans.
Come on, Loki.
And by the
Yeah,
way,
I did tweet this out and let Michael Rones know that he could join, but he can't because Australian internet sucks, according to him.
I mean,
by the way, America, that there's a horrible vision of your future, because that's what happens when you get rid of net neutrality.
it's not
Australian
horrible,
internet.
Kevin. It's not horrible. It's making money. It's profit. It's free
Australian
speech.
internet is notoriously shit unless you're rich enough to pay for it.
Yep.
I have no choice. I got Comcast.
I mean,
Oh,
it
yeah.
puts it in
Fucking-
Come here.
perspective, doesn't it? That Britain, like, is by no means a good country in terms of like the state of things at the moment. I mean, I'm sure Kevin and I can talk for days about the way the conservatism of a country, and then you cross the Atlantic and look at America, and it shows
mate.
you like
One of the fantastic, and it's obviously selfish in a respect, but there's nothing I can do to change it in the immediate term. One of the parts that makes me feel so glad about living here as opposed to there. You look at the American political scene at the moment, and you just think, I'm so fucking glad. I don't know what I'd do if my country was ever governed by the kind of rampant scum that exists in the highest levels of American office right now. It's just appalling.
yeah.
You guys got any more room there?
Yeah, we got plenty of room, man. Come on
Any
over. We need good people, so yeah, come on over.
I mean, the country.
I
like,
probably should just
America, like it's. That's why you were going to say something. Geek.
Yeah.
I probably should just move anyway because like that way I can play online poker, as stupid as that is. But yeah, money reasons to move. But yeah,
And you can get Kinder eggs here. That's perfectly legal. It's fine.
Oh yeah, I find it funny that America is basically one of the only countries where Kinder Surprise eggs are illegal. Land of the free, but we can't.
Exactly. You can carry
Land of the free, but
guns. You can carry
Yeah.
guns into bars and sell them to fucking mentally, psychopathic killers can get hold of fucking shotguns at a drop of a cap. But a Kinder egg, that's crazy town. Jesus Christ.
oh yeah, it's because a child might choke on it, even though it's designed in a way that the choking hazard is very much minimized.
Also, natural selection. I'm sorry, if your child's too stupid not to eat the little plastic thing.
there are teenagers that are too stupid. There are teenagers that, despite warnings, do not eat Tide Pods. They are eating Tide Pods.
Tide Pods are delicious though.
There are American presidents who are that stupid too.
Oh,
Yeah, we
think
pretend that
we
our
think-
American president doesn't exist.
Is it really so bad that Kinder eggs are illegal though? Because those things look gross as fuck.
No, they're lovely, man. They're fucking yummy.
Like what? Like, isn't the idea? Isn't it like? I don't know. I could be wrong, but isn't it like a plastic toy inside a chocolate egg? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, but it's
but
it's dark
the
chocolate on
toy-
the outside and then milk chocolate on the inside. It's fine. Like you don't taste plastic. It's fine.
Oh yeah, but the thing with the plastic is that the plastic toy on the inside is in like a little plastic capsule that isn't going to accidentally be choked on.
Yeah.
So like the toy's inside of a plastic like thing.
Yeah.
So it's not like you just have a toy that's been fucking mixed in with the chocolate.
Yeah,
It's
it's not like you get a little toy plane that's just covered in chocolate or something.
Yeah.
To be completely honest, that's what I thought it was. That's exactly what I thought it was.
No, it's not that. No.
No, I don't think it would be legal anywhere at that point because that would actually violate a lot of that would actually violate a lot of codes about food.
Yeah.
Food
Sorry
standards.
to sort of interject it, but Ashley, were you going to say something a few minutes ago?
I'm just wondering what the whole thing with Tide Pods is. Why people are eating them?
Because they're idiots.
Does anyone have any?
It's I mean, to my knowledge, it's just like a really bad meme. Like it's like, oh, funny. I'm eating a Tide Pod, haha, on video. Isn't it funny? Oh no, I ate it.
Jackass.
And it was,
Why?
yeah, it's
Because of
literally
Jackass,
the
I guess.
yeah, it's the same thing as Jackass, basically. Like,
yeah.
I ate a Tide Pod and it tastes gross. Look at my funny reaction, I guess.
Why?
The thing is I was that kid. Oh, sorry. I was that kid who would do stuff like that. Like, I was the kid who would do stuff like that, but I wouldn't do it on camera just for views. I would do it because someone was like, "Okay, I'll give you a few dollars if you do this."
Thing is, though, it's a different age, isn't it? I mean, with the internet, there's sort of that
Yeah.
people know they can get really famous and get a lot of attention in a lot of very short space of time. And well, on the surface, you could say, "Oh, well, that person, they're being a bit of a muppet." But then, if you sort of think about it deeper, I think that there's a sort of problem with our culture in that because we've got this entire sort of system of, you must work, you must sort of do this and that, and you're not going to get anywhere unless you're quite lucky. People are willing to do things that are, and they'd ordinarily consider pretty like ridiculous for that chance at a better life. And I think generally, like, I hate to put a dampener on the sort of, I know, laughing at silly kids eating Tide Pods, because there's an element of funniness to it, but I sort of find it hard to get like even that much derision out of people who do that, because like what it is really, it's a symptomatic of the system, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's the craving of attention in the marketplace and ideas and stuff like that.
Well, exactly. Like, just look at the Logan Paul stuff of late. Like, the guy, like, he would have known when he went into that forest. Of course, he knows that it's beyond the line to do what he did.
Yeah.
Film bodies.
Well, also I mean, not to mention that the forest that he went into, if I'm to understand correctly, that's actually a forest in Japan that has like the colloquial name of the suicide forest, which means that it's like it's very well known for people like just going there to commit suicide.
To my knowledge, that's why he went in there. Like, suicide.
I mean, there was even there was an American film company went there and filmed there, like I think it's like The Ring, that set, it's like an American The Ring but set in Japan, and the character is to do with the suicide forest, but they knew it was obviously a pretty insensitive thing to go and film that there, but do they care? No, because it's attention. It's 50 articles saying, "Oh, it's such a disgrace we did that," and it's just more attention and thus money. That's what our society creates. It doesn't really matter about your ethics in the long run, because what does a few critics here and there that will forget about you, what are they going to do next to your big pile of cash that you've now generated?
Yeah. And not just that, but one of the things that was overlooked, and understandably given the high-profile nature of the whole suicide forest incident, but the rest of his tour was really, really obnoxious. Because I mean, I watched bits of Bob's.
Oh
And
yeah,
it was
no,
basically him just being
he like dressed up as Pikachu and he threw a
it's just a-
stuffed Pokeball at a car that was driving.
he was just
Why?
being a kind of
my God.
obnoxious American
Because-
twat, being
Yeah,
vaguely
no,
racist
yeah, that's
to Japanese
exactly-
people.
That's
That was what he was
exactly
doing.
why he's obnoxious and an asshole. That's
He's
basically
literally the epitome of my daddy paid for college. My daddy paid for college, taught me to vote Republican, and I
Oh,
joined
yeah, he
the
was-
frat.
Yeah, he was.
And I
He's a.
joined-
In 2012, he was a Ron Paul supporter.
God.
Wow.
And Mitt Romney. Then after that, there was some tweets from him saying, "Oh,
Mitt
Romney would make a great president." Oh, fuck you, you prick.
There were people that supported Mitt. Like I remember in the 2011 election, like all the Republicans were like, "Well, we'll vote for Romney, but it's only as a lesser evil to Obama." Like I don't remember anybody actually liking Romney.
But that's the
Yeah,
thing, isn't it?
It's actually
Like,
kind of
they
funny
all,
because
You go ahead.
Romney's like a fucking snake. He was a governor in my state actually. In 2004, he banned assault weapons, and then basically in which I mean I don't think that that's necessarily that bad of a thing. Like I do think that I'm not like anti-gun, but like that's not like the worst thing. But basically in the 2012 election, he kind of ran off of he basically kind of ran on the idea of he ran on the idea of let's loosen our gun laws so that more people can get guns. It's like, which fucking one is it? You were the one in 2004 who banned assault rifles in my state.
And of course, Romney Care was basically a forerunner of Obamacare. But yet he comes out as some absolute free market capitalist when it suits him.
But going back to what you said a second ago, Piper, about how no one liked Romney. But then you look at the electoral stats, and he got quite a lot of votes. He got more than McCain did, certainly,
Right.
in 2008, because democracy under our current system is such a laughing stock. But then also people they entire communities out in sort of not maybe in urban areas, but in the Midland, I'm trying to think of a term in America.
Redneck.
Because
fucking rednecks. That's what you're talking about. Come on, be honest.
Well, not
Middle
even that,
America,
though.
but yeah, I agree.
Cities, because in America, a city you can have it's not like in Britain where we call them towns and villages. Cities are like anything basically, aren't they? Like 1,000 people in some bit of desert somewhere is a city in America.
Well, a city is closer to 100,000 or
but officially
40,000 or something,
aren't they? It doesn't really matter about population.
Yeah, but I mean, but we do still use the term town, and while we don't call them villages anymore, there are parts of if you go to parts where the British first colonized the U.S. and a lot of parts of Massachusetts, village is still in the name of the town.
Yeah, but coming back to what I was saying, the people who they'll vote Republican because that's all they know. It doesn't matter whether they agree with all his positions or whether they necessarily think he's doing a good job of the country or anything. They just vote because he's a Republican, and that's all they know. And they're so indoctrinated in this sort of Republicans are about freedom and Christian values that they'll just keep on voting for McCain and Romney, and it probably didn't. I'm not sure a lot of people voted for Trump because they liked it, but I reckon a lot of people just voted for Trump because he's a Republican, and they always vote Republican.
Exactly. But this is the last time they can now use the family values argument, because having voted for Trump, you're not for fucking family values. And whatever you think of Hillary Clinton, and there are lots of things to despise about her, of course, but whatever you think of her, from a family values point of view, couldn't be better. She had a kid, monogamous marriage for fucking 40 years, even stuck with him after she obviously had fair course for divorce, but she stuck with her husband. Now, if you're going to go with family values, you don't go with the guy who's cheated on all three of his wives.
Well, she also
True that.
flip-flopped a lot on gay marriage. Like she never had an actual position on that. She would kind of wane when she was.
I suspect the traditional Republican voter didn't really care that Clinton didn't back gay marriage.
Yeah.
And in fact, I mean, if you look at Hillary Clinton, like she could be a Republican. There's such a thin line between Democrats and Republicans.
The other thing I was going to say was
the problem.
Reagan started the
Neoliberalism?
Ramped up more or less the mass incarceration of Black Americans, and the Clintons continued that. But the thing with the family values is that tied to that is often Republicans want to institute austerity because they believe in family values, but at the same time they believe in rugged individualism for whatever reason.
Because they're not telling the truth. They're not going to openly say. Well, maybe a few of them do, like a few of the really lurid ones. But most of them are smart enough to know they're not going to openly say, "Yeah, we just want we want to make ourselves better off at the expense." They come out with all the got to lift yourself up by your bootstraps and you got to work for yourself, and then obviously they know full well that's not what's going to happen. They know full well their policies that are more and more right wing are just going to make capitalism benefit them more at the expense of the workers, but they don't care because that's what a society of capitalism produces. Just people at the top who want to keep their wealth and power and don't really care for people on the bottom, because you can say, oh well, but these people are hungry and starving and dying, and they're going to say, oh, yeah, but I've got a nice house, and I've got 5 cars, and
why don't you just pull yourself up by your bootstraps and you'll have what I have? Of course they don't actually believe it, but they don't care either.
Well, everyone should just be like Donald Trump and get a small loan of $1 million from their dad.
Well, so the thing about
I'll call up my father right now. Sorry.
But that was a loan. That was a loan of $1 million back in the late '60s. I mean, how much is that? That must be worth 10 million, 20 million now. Ridiculous.
Their thing about what do you call it? Their thing about rugged individualism, how that related to Hillary, was that she led, her and her husband continued, Reagan's attack on people on welfare. It was a very racist attack, and they kicked thousands of Black American single moms off of welfare, and which is a service that was basically allowing them to subsist. Without that, they would have and did land in extreme grinding poverty. Right. So
well, not to mention, to
that point, the point I'm trying to make is that she was kind of a Hillary Clinton. If you look at it, she's basically a neocon. So any Republican should be in love.
Oh yeah, I mean, just
and then people wonder.
I mean, even outside of that context, just the fact not only was there the anti-welfare thing, but the double whammy was that Bill Clinton was also doing the tough on crime policies, which basically just ramped up the penalties for drug crimes, which, despite the fact that basically at an equal percentage, white and black people commit nonviolent drug offenses, black people get arrested for them more often because of racial profiling. Yeah. So this tough on crime stance was also putting a lot of these women's husbands in jail, often because, well, there's no welfare, I need to support my family, and and I'm not getting enough money.
Yeah.
So I'm going to sell drugs so that I can feed my kids. And then I'm in jail.
Yeah,
and
Ashley,
now their mother doesn't. Oh, sorry.
Ashley was don't worry. Ashley was going to say something, but I'd like to add to your point, anarchist.
Well, I mean, all these things happened with Hillary Clinton, and then people wonder why I couldn't support her.
Yeah,
that she wasn't Donald Trump wasn't good enough, and I live in Maryland, which is a blue state, so it went to her anyway, so it didn't really matter. But yeah, I couldn't because like all that, and it's just like my whole thing is why do we constantly restrict ourselves to these choices when we know better?
Yeah. I mean, ultimately, I think we should know better. We don't seem to know better, but we should know better.
Well, I think we know better on a certain level. I think that most people understand that, you know, Trump and Hillary were both awful choices and that there was no real choice, you know. But at the end of the day, they don't have a frame of reference besides, you know, typical party politics in a representative democracy. They don't necessarily think that anything else is possible. They think this is how, you know, things work, right?
Yeah,
Maybe the other in their minds, maybe the other options are, you know, fascism or Stalinism, maybe. But other than that, there's no alternative that's desirable.
Yeah.
Right.
Coming back.
Yeah, it's kind of like. Oh,
sorry, you go ahead, Anarchist.
I mean, it's kind of like basically a lot of people have convinced themselves that there's no alternative to liberal democracy that would
yeah, no, exactly
be better.
that. Going back to what you said a few minutes ago, Anarchist, about you know, the increase in incarceration rates under the Clinton administration. I mean, it was quite it's very true. I mean, you look at their policies and they're every bit as racist and awful as Republican ones. And then you look at what was going on at the time, and you know, you got the crash in the sort of 70s and early 80s of capitalism starting to fail, as it, you know, inevitably does, because you can't keep growing forever. There's going to be that crash eventually. And then you obviously look at prison populations and what actually goes on in the American prison system, with the you know, essentially slave labor going on, being paid like next to nothing, and then obviously corporations can come in and make massive amounts of profit off them. And you realize that all of a sudden you've got a workforce that you don't have to pay very much, if anything, that you force to work for you because, you know, they're in prison, they've broken the law. And then, you know, you've got massive profits at the end of it.
It seems like it's essentially a new slave trade via proxy.
Yeah. And
well, yeah, that's because there's also.
And yeah, fine. You can like say, oh well, it's insulting to the original slaves to say that, and no one's saying yeah, it's exactly the same as a slave trade. But to look at the situation that is going on in American prisons and how people get incarcerated in the first place, which can be from anything.
It seems to me, it seems rather similar to the slave trade.
I mean,
well, I mean,
the thing with that is that like literally right after the slave trade was abolished, because this prison like de facto slavery thing is not new. Right after the slave trade was abolished, and I mean literally right after.
Yeah.
You know, since the 13th Amendment always read the way it did, and
no, I was going to bring it up.
Well, not just that, but America,
as long as the person was imprisoned, right? Right after the slave trade was abolished and slavery, you know, formally was abolished in the United States, you know, prisons started, you know, mass incarcerating Black Americans because, you know, and making them perform slave labor as a substitute for slavery.
Yeah, well, America has always sought other ways of doing slavery since it officially got rid of it.
I mean,
prisons, but you also had sharecropping straight after, which for another generation or two was essentially slavery under a different name.
Yeah. I mean, even then, something funny too about the 13th Amendment is that the 13th Amendment wouldn't even like deny that what goes on in America's prison systems with prison labor, it wouldn't even deny that it's slavery, because it says that slavery is disallowed except as a punishment for breaking the law. So it's literally just a loophole for legal slavery. So I mean, to say that slavery is illegal is completely have a narrow-minded understanding of what slavery is. Because even if you look historically, prison slavery, even outside of like America, just in a lot of empires, prison slavery was something that existed. And it was very similar to, like, you have a prisoner and you force them to do labor because, well, they don't have any rights. Their rights have been taken away because they broke the laws of the state.
Yeah.
And, this is also something that has been done with prisoners of war, too, is that it's essentially legalized slavery.
Yeah. But then this is capitalism 101. It's making a commodity out of people and then profiting off them. Like, that's always going to be the case under any capitalist system because, your morals and ethics are nothing compared to someone else who can give you higher profit margins through crushing their labor and making their labor slaves. Even the fact that the slavery in the first place, many of the Confederate states, their arguments were, oh, well, look at the amount of profit we can make if we have slavery. And many people in the
But
North were convinced by that.
This is the self-defeating nature of the profit motive, though, in a way, because ultimately, slavery isn't actually good in the long run for the economy. Every slave society has always collapsed relatively quickly because you're not honouring labour. You're not actually fucking allowing these people to be economically active players in your society, and yet they're still going to be taking resources in the form of like food and housing and all the rest of it, but they're not going to be actually paying into that capitalist system, and so it defeats itself. The more you push, the worse it gets. It's diminishing returns constantly, and slavery always collapses because of that.
Well, I agree with you that, like, ultimately capitalism needs free labor, like people who are wage laborers who sell their, ability to work on the market to be Marxist about it. But, and that's why slavery was abolished. But at the same time, I want to add a little bit of a caveat to that because, the slave, what were called slave societies of the ancient empires, Rome and Greece and so forth that, conquered slaves through war. They fell apart because they were based on conquering territory, not necessarily because they used slave labor.
Well, yeah, but
Especially
also that's you're going back to pre-capitalism as well.
Yeah,
I think
that's what I was going to say.
a
Like,
point worth noting. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean,
Well,
the general point, I think stands. But yes, I will accept your
no,
caveat.
yeah, I agree with your point. I'm just adding the caveat.
Yeah.
So those are the societies that generally fell apart because of slavery. The United States didn't really do that. The United States had a civil war because of slavery, but Western economies and the United States capitalist economy was literally built on the back of slaves.
Yeah.
So
Well, yeah, but also America. I think America, you're starting to see because it's no longer the only superpower in the world, and it can't just go and continue its empire expansion. You're starting to see the collapse of said empire for the very reasons you just mentioned, because it's got nowhere to go now.
Well, exactly. And when capitalism starts to fail, you see fascism arise. Hence, Trump now deregulating the market, suppressing workers' rights, terrorizing immigrants and other groups.
Unions, for example, are like a great example of stuff being it basically being of workers' rights being crushed. Just look at the state of unions. Just like not even socialist unions, just unions in the workplace. They're basically becoming even harder and harder to start, and like basically, in the private sector,
you never hear
actually.
So I was just going to say, you never hear ANCAPs complaining about the anti-union laws for some reason, even though that's free association, guys. I thought you were for that.
No, that's literally employees getting together so that they can try for their own personal interests to get more money, not even necessarily to get the whole fucking pie, just to get more money.
The thing is about unions and ANCAPs to kind of not really defend them, because I don't really want to defend them because they're ANCAPs, but to kind of because I've like read their stuff and I've argued with them for like years for some reason because I get bored on the internet. But like to kind of not really defend them, they do kind of have a weird thing with unions because like they will say, oh, well, are fine. Like we can have unions so long as they don't win concessions that the government then enforces. So as long as they don't win like the 8-hour day or something.
So as long as they don't actually improve the lot of workers in any way whatsoever.
As long as they don't do anything and they just they just have negotiations and do collective bargaining, that is not enforced.
As long as they're basically just a tea and cakes knitting circle that don't actually make any possible change, then that's fine. They can do that. Yeah, brilliant. I mean, the ANCAP. There's so many reasons to hate ANCAPs, but that makes me want to punch them very hard in the fucking face.
I was going to actually I was going to say that like it doesn't make any sense because really, like when ANCAPs try and say that they're actually basically for people. For like basically people fighting for their own self-interests, that's literally workers fighting for their own self-interests saying, okay, well, we can't work under oppressive labor conditions, so we're going to ask for like an 8-hour workday, 40 hours a week, and this kind of pay for hour, and this pay for hour is so that we can afford food, so that we can keep coming here, and we can afford medicine, health.
Just something as simple as I want to be able to go to work and have a reasonable chance of not fucking dying that day.
Yeah.
I mean, just something as simple as that.
I mean, that's what I think when you look at anarcho-capitalism and look at some of the points they have, just ignoring the sort of the ideology and sort of the insidious nature of just like this free market capitalism with nothing to stop it. The ideas of people doing the work, owning their own labour, that is a far left. That's a communist idea. That's a idea that a worker should own their own produce. So the fact that like they have like clear ideas that they want to address, they clearly know something's not right with the world. And then project all that onto it's the state. It's not it's not the fact that capitalism is an oppressive, awful system. It's the fact that capitalism is not been allowed to flourish naturally. I don't think that many of them are actually that far off being sort of swayed round to a sort of more sensible, like nicer position. But then obviously that works both ways, and that you can a lot of ANCAPs end up as full-on fascists because
a lot of them
sort of they realise that you can't actually have this sort of paradise capitalist society with no force and no niceties for everyone. So they just say, oh well, forget all that we were talking about. We want to have the means of production and just stomp out any sort of worker solidarity, which is why so many of them end up like Mussolini-esque in a way.
Yeah, a lot of them have been like subsumed into the alt-right because they were an online movement anyway, and the alt-right is mostly online. So like the alt-right has basically like swallowed them up, and there are like a few of them on the internet who are like, well, I take a principled stand against the alt-right as an ANCAP, but like most of them have become alt-righters now.
I think also
Stefan Molyneux doesn't even call himself an ANCAP anymore. He just calls himself alt-right.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I've said it for a while. Anarcho, in inverted commas, anarcho-capitalism is an absolutely straightforward gateway to fascism.
I was actually just I was remembering my recent response video I did. It was I hadn't seen anyone else respond to questions Black people have for SJWs. God, I'm so sick of that word. So I responded to it, and that guy T was one of the main featured people, and
that guy T is
he's one of these people who became like fascists. Is that correct?
Yeah,
libertarian fascist. Yeah, ridiculous.
For a long time, he unironically called himself.
Yeah, it's a joke. It's a joke even beyond anarcho-capitalism, which is an oxymoron in itself.
But he called himself an anarcho-fascist for a long time.
That's the dumbest one. Yeah, that's genius.
Well, yeah, okay. I just gotta say about that guy T. That guy T literally made a video called "A Libertarian's Case for Fascism."
Yeah, he was all over.
That's genius because in that one phrase,
just face bobbed.
In that one phrase, you're saying I'm for the removal of the state, but I'm also for a very strong, powerful military state. Genius.
Yeah.
It's almost like he just wants to crush out communism, and he kind of doesn't matter how we get there.
Yeah,
it's almost like
the thought occurs to me that he's just making shit up That's all.
Yeah, no, I agree. Like, he's
Yep.
just playing everyone for a laugh and seeing what he can get away with. And some people have cottoned on, but as tends to be the case in that sort of circle, like they just sort of go along with it, which is sort of made me thought of another sort of point that I think would be interesting to talk about. It's the state of the sort of quote unquote skeptic rational community, where they've sort of been sort of baited into becoming further and further right as we speak. Like, you look at where they were a few years ago and where they are now, and the talking points are terrifying, like race realism, ethnostates.
Yeah, we've even seen we've even seen former liberals, like people who called themselves liberals, just kind of drifting to the alt-right.
Yep.
Sorry.
What was I gonna say? One of these anti channels, Sinatra Says, he once messaged me on Twitter and tried to invite me onto a live stream with him to debate race realism. And the answer,
amazing.
The answer was hell no. I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna totally debate that, and then I'm gonna go debate the food babe about whether or not Subway bread is bad for you, and some other.
Yeah, he was the guy that put together the. He was the guy that put together the questions anti-SJWs have for SJWs collaboration video thing from a couple of months back. He's a douche.
That's like really fucking like what? That's like really. I don't even understand the thought process. Like you are a person of color, obviously. So
yeah.
he went to a person of color and was like, "Hey, do you want to debate whether or not you're objectively inferior to white people?"
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck is that?
That's kind of fucked. I mean, yeah. Also, I don't know. Like, is this bad? But like, part of me wants to think that guy T isn't actually black, but is just some white person doing really convincing blackface. Like, I know that that's not true, but just the way his talking points just always... He's so anti-black that it just... I can't wrap my mind around it.
I get where you're coming from, AA, but that's a really poor way of putting it.
Yeah.
Have any of you guys... Have any of you guys seen Get Out?
Yeah.
I've meant to for a while.
I love that movie. That movie was really good. I've seen that movie. My God, I love that movie.
That is a possibility. That guy T.
Yeah.
White Randy and it living in his brain, or his brain is living in his body.
Oh, he's a white guy. He's a white guy who body swapped with someone one day.
That's... Oh my God.
That makes just about as much sense.
Yeah. My God. I can't afford. I can't even love.
Jack Skellington. Sorry, I just noticed your hat.
Yes.
Nice.
Yes, that is a lovely hat, and I'm a man with lovely hats, so I should know.
Thanks.
What type of hats?
I have several hats, actually. I have a R2-D2 Bullard Fez. I have a Captain America driver's cap with steampunk goggles, and then various different baseball caps. I do have a few different fedoras, so I can cosplay as Davis Aridi if I want to. Yes, I have 3 of them.
And do you go around screaming sexual and racial obscenities at people whilst...
kind of sad. Like, imagine before sort of like the way internet culture has gone, like you maybe just had a bit of a fondness for fedoras, and then like now if you wear one, you just forever are tainted with the look of...
Exactly. No one thinks of the innocent pre-MRA fedora wearers who were perfectly innocently going around wearing their old-timey hats, and now all of a sudden people think they're absolute wankers.
Yeah, I can't even wear the fedora from my childhood anymore.
The thing is, like, fucking top hats are better old-timey hats than fedoras, so you should just wear those anyway.
Oh, you've got to go full Abraham Lincoln stovepipe. Fucking go for it. Nobody will go home.
Oh yeah, you've even got to do the chin strap too. Like you have to shave the mustache. Just do a chin strap.
But don't get shot in the back of the head in a theater. Don't go that far with it.
But that's the most fun part.
Oh, that was dark.
Also, spoiler. At the end of the Lincoln movie, Lincoln dies.
Oh no! What a shock!
Yeah, but did you know it wasn't actually John Wilkes Booth? It was actually the Jewish Illuminati.
Oh, someone should.
Alex Jones told me, so it must be true.
Someone should cue up the X-Files theme.
I've seen the bumper stickers for Alex Jones stuff in Paletown.
Oh,
I want to run into one of the people who are like giving out his DVDs on the sidewalk because they do that, and I want to run into one of those people and like have a conversation with them because it would be like hilarious.
Well,
I remember we're in Seattle. We pour coffee on him.
If you go, there's a British YouTuber who I'm not always entirely in agreement with, but he does great sciencey type stuff called Miles Power. And he's done a great series of debunking the 9/11 truthers, and he actually goes down to just by Ground Zero on like the anniversary, and talks to the people on the sidewalk, giving out like the DVDs and the signs that say the truth, and all that. And he's brilliant in a really polite British way. He just dissects the nonsense and basically says you're talking shit, but without saying you're talking shit. Brilliant.
Love Miles Power.
Yeah. I'm not always in agreement with that. He's done he's done one or two vaguely anti-SJW type things, but other than that, he's actually excellent. But I think he's just.
Well, I mean, it's kind of like how Christopher Hitchens would call anybody who wanted to basically debate 9/11 trutherism. Like, people who wanted to say that 9/11 trutherism was actually real, he would just call them a fascist crackpot to shut them down. Which is kind of funny, because something that actual fascists did, he believed that people who were going to do Holocaust denial deserved a platform. They're not fascist crackpots. It's the 9/11 truthers who are fascist crackpots.
Well, that's the
Not
thing.
just that, but he was an imperialist piece of shit. This is the thing, when people lionise Christopher Hitchens, and there's no doubt he was a clever man, but when people lionise him as some sort of great thing, he was a fucking imperialist piece of shit.
Yeah, he is a weirdo. He co-wrote a book about the Palestinian-Israeli conflict with Edward Said of all people, the guy who was famous for analyzing Orientalism and how that plays into racism and imperialism. And then he went around to supporting the wars in the Middle East and arguing that Muslims are a bunch of terror. He was a weird dude.
Huh.
Yeah.
Well, what do you expect? What do you expect from a Trotskyist, though? For the longest time, he actually self-identified as a Trotskyist.
I'm still annoyed that he said women aren't funny. Because
women are funnier than
he wasn't funny. He was a boring ass fucking ugly fucking motherfucker.
How does one measure funniness?
Nobody was getting a fucking laugh from him. At least I was.
How can someone? Yeah, well, I agree with that. Definitely, Piper. How
boring? What? Oh, sorry.
Thanks. How can one measure funniness? I don't understand. Whenever people come out with this, it's got a scientific study to show that women aren't funny. It's like, well, what's that coming from? What, you just polled people and asked your mates at MRA convention or something? Oh, do you think women are funny? Oh no, it's ridiculous. These people come up with their false stats for one. And then for two, where's it coming from? You can't measure something that's subjective like that. It's like asking, what's the best food? It's like, it's objectively proven that more people like chocolate than sultanas. It's like, well, where's that coming from? You just ask people.
No, it's clearly baby back ribs that are the best food. Vegans would even agree.
It's not food.
I agree. That's why we shouldn't call cops pigs. I was making a joke.
Yes.
I'd like to throw my hand
scientifically proven that pineapple on pizza is awesome.
Well,
I
I don't get what the thing about pineapple pizza is. Wasn't pineapple pizza like a thing for like a long time before the meme?
She's lovely.
Yeah.
Nobody was disputing pineapple pizza. Like even if you didn't like it, nobody cared. Like until
Yeah, I mean,
for some reason.
I've always thought it just shouldn't happen.
although to be fair, way before the meme, Family Guy did make a joke about it going, when Peter's working at a pizzeria, it comes out and he's like, ew, it's half Hawaiian. Here you go. The Hawaiian thing being the fact that a Hawaiian pizza basically is ham, bacon, and pineapple.
Yeah,
Ham and
what's more
bacon.
Hawaiian than Canadian bacon?
Oh, it was Canadian bacon, not ham.
I thought Canadian bacon was ham.
So the Canadian bacon in Canada is called back bacon, but yeah. But a Hawaiian comedian said if they wanted to truly make it Hawaiian, they would have Spam on it.
Honestly, I've never seen the sort of fanaticism over bacon. Like, so many people who are like, "Oh, how could I be a vegan? Because I love bacon so much." It's gross. Like, it's not even like I don't
It's
really
not that
understand.
good.
I know.
I mean, I eat it, but it's like greasy. They're like greasy strips of meat. It's not that
They're
big.
so bad for you.
Well, I mean, I've never really been a picky eater, so for me, like, something like cutting meat out wouldn't be that hard. Especially since I've always actually had like a weird thing with the texture of meat that like it kind of took me years of eating it to like get over it.
Yeah. Yep, I would want to hear at least try veganism.
I would actually recommend that if you're trying to get into veganism, you should probably start by just reducing meat consumption. You don't even have to completely cut it out. Reduce meat consumption, but keep reducing it and go slowly.
And then
I was thinking about trying it once, and I asked someone I knew who was vegan about it, and so like I know the process. You have to like. It's recommended that you become vegetarian first, and then like you also have to take a bunch of like, ideally like you're probably gonna have to take like supplements too. Like it's not a good idea to like just eat your regular diet without animal products like randomly out of nowhere one day.
or
How long?
I'd recommend learning about vegan nutrition from actual registered dietitians and not to eat like 30 bananas in a day or like
Cough freely.
Okay, right, with veganism, right? I get why you don't want to eat animal flesh.
right.
But what's wrong with milk?
Oh, I get.
I could tell you stories.
I'm not a vegan, but I can tell you what's wrong with milk. So like fucking like so like the amount of meat that we eat, like in the West in general, is really, really, really unhealthy. And milk is just like liquid meat. And not only that, but it's meant specifically for baby cows. So it has no health benefits for us. And it's also extremely, you could say it has health downsides because we're not baby cows. We don't need the specific things that are found in milk to nourish us as baby cows.
Well, I mean, even then, even then, just talking about the process of how you get milk, it's massively exploitative. And I'm not even talking about the milking process, but more how they get the cows to keep producing milk is that they forcefully impregnate them. Like they have machines that are basically meant to keep a cow in one place. Like I'm not going to go into detail.
Yeah. I could give people links if they want them.
Oh, definitely. I mean, it'd be great to read about it.
I don't like try to show any animal like torture porn in my videos, but I will like link some like information on why not to eat dairy, why not to eat eggs. Because I think that's really important.
Yeah. I mean, also, if you're trying to get people to go vegan, just showing animals being tortured or showing them being slaughtered isn't usually going to be enough. Like, it's going to shock the person. It's going to make them feel horrible. But then it's just going to make them feel. But then it's just going to make them feel horrible about themselves, as opposed to actually making them want to like not eat meat.
Did your internet cut there for a second, Geek?
Yeah.
I would say though that just the processes used to get meat and to get milk are just like really massively exploitative, and they're bad for the environment.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think with
definitely.
everything, like veganism has to go hand in hand with anti-capitalism, because like whilst we have the world to do, you're never going to see massive corporations say, oh yeah, we're going to just end our meat practices, we're going to stop owning all this land and farming cows and stuff, because
and exploiting all these workers.
Yeah, exactly.
It's
never going to stop. And then secondly, like you're asking people to sort of, stop eating foods they sort of eat regularly, eat check every single thing. I know it's perhaps it's easy when you frame it as just stopping to eat meat and stuff, but then like you said, there's dairy products, there's eggs and stuff, there's not just food but also clothing and like health products and stuff. There's so much that requires the exploitation of animals to do in the world at the moment. So it can't just be, in my opinion, like just say to your friends, stop doing this. It needs to come from top down, like systemic change. I mean, I don't know what you think of that, Ashley, but
I definitely agree. You should converse with Mexi and a privileged vegan who both have
the Vegan Vanguard podcast. It's called the Vegan Vanguard.
Yeah, they do that podcast.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean to interrupt you. I'm sorry.
They're both really passionate vegan leftists who. It's really regret that there are like there are so few like really good vegan YouTube channels, and most of them are just garbage or pseudoscience, which is just not helpful.
Well, I think with with anything really, these because of the way YouTube is, it's easier to be sort of in the popular right-wing circles and get sort of an immediate influx of channels. It's why there's like so many skeptic raisins, skeptic profiterole, rational rice crispy or something.
But none of them are actually.
Exactly. Yeah. Obviously, exactly.
They also complain about echo chambers all the time. Yet, like, they have like a giant corner of the internet where they all like mutually like. I don't want to say, what I could say, like, for lack of a better term, where they all jerk each other off and fucking like they like, and if like they find someone who particularly pisses them off, they sick that like legion of people from that corner of the internet on them. So
it's kind of weird because if you're
complaining about echo chambers.
Oh yeah, it's kind of weird because if you're on like the internet left, it is literally impossible to have an echo chamber unless you block 98% of the people on the internet from communicating with you.
Yeah.
And even then, it's not like a true echo chamber. Then you just kind of have like. Then all you've done is you've managed to get them to stop like sending shit at you.
Then it's literally an echo chamber because it's just you talking.
I mean, I don't even think that the way we've sort of framed it is like, you need an opposing side in any conversation you're having. It's like, no, you don't. Like, you don't need to constantly have someone just there to disagree with you. Like, what's the point of that?
That's true,
It's possible just to have places where people can just talk about their own ideas and just feel happy. And maybe if certainly with politics, which is sort of a very important thing of society, because so much of right-wing politics is about pretty awful behavior. The idea of we're all individuals, we all should just be like keeping to ourselves. It's natural that they're gonna be somewhat unpleasant. And the idea that wanting separate groups of people to just feel comfortable and speak to themselves is.
Show us the dog. Oh, the dog's gone. Damn it.
He's next to me. Loki, say hello to the people. Say hello, Loki. Come on.
Oh,
hi, Loki. Oh, hi, Loki. I know he can't hear
the dog
me.
of mischief.
Yeah, but
Either
I mean, something
I was sharing them.
something I gotta say is that I'm not. Is it really that surprising that a lot of right-wing vegans tend to lean more fascist than ANCAP? It's usually like the ANCAP, like fascists are more willing to be like vegetarians and vegans than
Yeah.
like the quote unquote libertarian right. Because and I feel and honestly I think it's because it fits into, I think that they can kind of twist veganism to fit into this like really like this idea of purity of like,
Yeah.
oh yeah, we're the white race, so therefore we live in harmony with nature. We don't
That's
eat
what
the animals. It's what
that's what
Mexi said on ContraPoint's stream.
that's
Oh.
pushed by like McCarthy. Yeah, the people who think that interracial dating is totes like bestiality, guys.
That's
Well,
just
Oh yeah,
I get,
we
I get
measured.
I get what the libertarians wouldn't.
I mean, especially considering the history of like people of color being compared to animals, like that's just racism.
Yeah,
Like, obvious.
I mean, it's like, oh, guys, it's bestiality. I measured the skull of a black person that died, and you know, it was minorly different from one of the white person's skulls I've measured, and you know, it doesn't matter that I don't have an actual sample size that proves that, well, everybody's skull just kind of looks a little bit different, and I'm actually just winging this shit to justify my racism.
Well, can I just go back for a second? I get why libertarians wouldn't want to be vegetarians or vegans. Because their whole thing is, I don't want to have any restrictions on me whatsoever. So it's almost like a kind of childish lashing out where
Yeah.
they won't accept any, even self-imposed restrictions aren't allowed. Whereas fascists are, generally speaking, okay with the idea that certain things shouldn't be allowed, basically.
Yeah. Well, yeah, I mean, also, like I said, the whole not eating meat thing can like fit into their message of like they can twist it to basically fit with like their racist message. Purity is they can twist it to be like, well, you know, we as the white race, we shouldn't eat meat like those degenerate brown people. We should only be eating plants, and we should be in harmony with nature. You know, that's where you had like you had a lot of like people in like early like in the early Nazi regimes, like a lot of people, there was a lot of like anti-technology sentiment amongst a lot of fascists historically, where they just kind of were like, well, technology has destroyed the environment, and you know, well, it's made people have to work less, so people aren't connected to the environment anymore. It's basically stupid shit.
Which is very much the Unabomber approach to things. That
Yep.
was his whole
Pretty much.
Wait, what about the
Yeah.
Unabomber?
Oh,
his
the
whole thing. He was really anti-technology because he was like, "Oh, technology has taken the people away from their natural place in the world." And it's
Well, yeah, he was slash is an anarcho primitivist, quote unquote. They're basically a bunch of like ANCAPs. They've erroneously taken up the moniker of anarchism.
I think whenever people sorry, you were still speaking.
Oh yeah, so like, and basically they believe like that civilization, like since before, like, so since most of human history has been spent in hunter-gatherer tribes that were relatively egalitarian, and there was no sort of oppression and exploitation like we know it today. They think that people settling down, forming mass societies, and organizing agriculture, and developing advanced technology. They think that was what led to the creation of like exploitation and oppression, and kind of class and the state and so forth. So they think that basically civilization represents like a fall from the primitive communist like Garden of Eden, and so they want to abolish civilization and go back to living in those hunter-gatherer tribes.
Which is kind of weird. It literally sounds like basically Luddites trying to give like a left-wing twist.
It's not Luddism, because the Luddites were like, the Luddites weren't like anti-technology or something. They were specifically displaced as craft laborers by large looms that were developed, early capitalism. They would basically destroy those looms. They were working class people resisting. They were like anarcho-primitivists or something.
Yeah, exactly. They weren't anti-technology in any way, other than it being people put out of work. Even in really heavy Luddite areas of Britain, if people put out of work by the introduction of the new machinery were allowed to keep their often company owned homes, and B, were properly recompensed, those, even in the most militant Luddite areas, those factories were not damaged. It was not anti-technology, it was anti-fucking over poor people.
That actually sounds way more sensible than what I had heard about the Luddite movement. I guess I'll have to retract my statement.
The Luddites were actually, I think the Luddites were actually cool. So
Yeah, the Luddites were fucking amazing people. Yeah, it was proper direct action, and it had massive impact. The rates of homelessness because of the introduction dropped enormously in places like Nottingham, Birmingham, the East End of London.
Well, yeah, it was literally workers just demanding their recompense.
Yeah,
I mean that actually sounds like not only a sensible thing. That sounds like something I would like just directly have supported.
Absolutely. Well, I would advise people to read into it, because the Luddites are one of the most misrepresented and slighted peoples in history.
Yep. Oh, fucking earlier when we were talking about labor rights, something that I find very funny is how a lot of you were talking about the whitewashing that liberals will often do to history. One great example of whitewashing by liberals to just make it look as clean as possible is so they whitewashed basically the whole labor movement in the U.S. They don't even call it the labor movement. They're like, oh no, there were just some reforms done out of the goodness of Franklin Roosevelt's heart.
When they argue with Republicans and libertarians, for the welfare state, they say, oh, well, you can't hate the state because the state enacted all these reforms to protect people from, excessive exploitation, ignoring the fact that those reforms were only concessions that came out of like extremely bloody labor struggle.
You look at the labor movements and like the people who were sort of fighting for the workers like 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. You look at people like Martin Luther King, for instance, staunch socialist.
Also gets whitewashed a lot.
Exactly. Like you mentioned his socialism, we just sort of airbrush it out of history, and like all of a sudden, he's the the nice moderate guy who didn't like
what's funny about MLK is he was assassinated while doing labor activism, while doing socialist activism.
Yeah, literally, his the last protest he spoke at was an anti-Coca-Cola rally.
Yeah. And you look at just
the capitalists don't like to mention. They like to brush over that part of his whole credo.
Even going beyond,
of course they do.
The like sort of figureheads of like Martin Luther King and people who are obviously great people, but just for all the workers who have been on the front line of pro-leftist, pro-worker movements, just like fighting for their fellow brothers and sisters and just everyone to have basic quality of life, like the Black Panther, people like that. Just
all the way back to the Tolpull martyrs, the very first trade unionists sent to Australia for daring to fucking organise. Incredible, absolutely fucking incredible story. And if you're in Britain, by the way, you should go to the Tolpuddle Festival. They have it every year in it's a little town in Devon called Tolpuddle. Where the very first union formed.
Do you know
it's an incredible? Yeah. And you get a real sense of the history involved.
Oh yeah. Do you know what's even funny or? Not funny, like haha funny, but like really weird. Like it's an even more blatant example of whitewashing. if you ask most kids in a school if they've ever heard of Bayard Rustin, they would not fucking know who the guy is for the most part.
I didn't
Bayard-
even know. I never heard that name until I was like, what, 25 years old, maybe?
Yeah.
I'm
And the thing
33.
is-
I still don't know that name.
Oh, Bayard Rustin? Okay. Bayard Rustin was basically one of Martin Luther King's, like, he was one of Martin Luther King's biggest allies. He was actually, basically Martin Luther King, even like he was a gay communist who Martin Luther King was always defending and defending his right to stay in the movement. Bayard Rustin was part of the Communist Party of America, before like basically you started to get the like not like CP USA like of the modern day, but basically like he was part of Communist Direct Action and stuff like that outside of
that. Imagine
Martin
that being
Luther
a black rights activist, gay, and a communist at times when basically all three of those were fundamentally illegal. Basically,
Yeah.
The police
Oh,
were ready
I
to
would-
need one of those three, and he was all three. That takes some fucking balls.
Yeah.
I remember
Oh,
now.
yeah.
You guys, I think you, American Anarchist, you mentioned it before on the previous Hangout, so that's where I remember hearing that name now.
Oh yeah, Bayard Rustin, literally, he was basically as big of a part of the civil rights movement as Martin Luther King is. We never even speak his fucking name.
Disgraceful.
We
isn't it?
we always pretend he doesn't exist. It's only come recently that like we've learned about it. Honestly, I learned about it I think like 4 years ago, thanks to actually this channel doesn't even produce videos anymore. I mean, they it was a How Stuff Works channel, but the channel that enlightened me to this, which was also one of the channels that kind of like slipped me into leftism, was this How Stuff or Stuff Mom Never Told You How Stuff
Oh,
Works
yeah.
channel run by Kristen Conger. They still have the podcast, but the channel doesn't actually like put up any videos anymore. They put up a last video and said like, okay, like there's never going to be any more videos on this YouTube channel. Like,
Yeah.
this YouTube channel's functionally dead. But
And
she,
as a no, sorry, you finish.
but yeah, and thankfully that we have people like Cat Black who have kind of brought it up that like I don't know exactly how I would criticize Cat Black because I don't know much about her, but like at the very least she's done like she did a video where she actually talked about Bayard Rustin. Like this guy's
awesome.
What I was
this
gonna
guy's
say,
oh sorry.
no worries. Yeah, like as a sort of a positive segue from what you were saying about channels being dead. The flip side of that is, I think recently we've seen like so many left wing, anti SJW, you could almost say. Not that I want to use the term, but sort of a kickback against the slide to the right that many internet spaces have seen through many people on the left being more vocal and being more active in participating in discourse. And I think lots of people have sort of found the left and found there is an alternative to sort of misery schlubfest that is sort of Western politics through the internet and stuff. So I know certainly.
Hell, I became a feminist because of H. Bomber Guy's video on Sargon, and then H. Bomber Guy led to Garrett, and Garrett blew open the floodgates for me to the feminist YouTube leftist community.
Yeah, for me, LSR was kind of the thing that opened up leftist YouTube to me. Like, I'm not even joking. While like basically like kind of liberal feministish stuff was what kind of slipped me into it. Just the fact that I got so into the topic of feminism kind of led me to it led me to one day come across my recommendations, seeing a video from Libertarian Socialist Rants, a YouTuber I had never heard of before.
Love
and
him
it's
too.
basically my and it's basically like my thoughts on feminism. So I immediately watched the video. I subscribed and I started watching more stuff. This started to make me think, even deeper than just social politics. It started to make me think about my economic politics and where I really stand. Like, I was kind of leaning a bit Leninist at the time, so like this kind of kept me from going like full tanky and just. I mean, I don't think that I ever would have gotten to that point because I had just it had been so ingrained in me at a young age that just Stalin was bad.
Same
Of
for
course,
me too.
I was never actually given a reason why. I was just told he was bad because he was a communist, which kind of made me like against that like
Plain
word. But like learning more about
It's the manufacturing consent that Noam
Yeah.
Chomsky talks about.
oh yeah, it
I
just
mean-
kind of
I think
Yeah,
I'm slightly sorry. You keep doing this. You finish.
I mean, yeah, that was kind of the thing is that basically, you know, my whole life I'm thinking, oh, the USSR was bad because it was communist, as opposed to the more nuanced thing, which is that the USSR wasn't like particularly greater than America. Like, you know, the USSR had some things that they did better than America, but America also had a lot of things that it managed to actually do worse than the USSR. Not to mention, Britain literally fucking oversaw a famine even worse than what the USSR oversaw.
Yeah.
The famine in
Yeah,
India.
you can try and top the British Empire. You can try and top the British Empire. You got no chance. We've
Yeah, no,
we've
definitely.
killed people of every color on every continent. Bring it, bitches.
Well, except for Antarctica, you haven't killed any penguins yet.
We've slaughtered
Josh,
millions of
we're
penguins.
gonna we're gonna dig it up, aren't we? The
Stay away
oil
from
underneath
penguins.
Antarctica is gonna be like, if we still have capitalism at the time, our oil will start running out in like the Middle East, in South
Exactly.
America.
Global.
It's
We're
done.
driving.
Technically. I don't
No,
know.
I'm out on the street.
Yes, I was about to say, Britain's part of the global warming problem, and that's going to take care of Antarctica. So we'll have done every continent on Earth. And
But
killed
what I was gonna say
Oh, you Brits and your genocide.
I mean, Americans are literally like modern day white Americans are literally descended from white British people.
Yeah, basically,
What
all of the
was,
world's problems can be traced back in one form or another to some white people from Europe who went to some other place and fucked that place up.
Do you know what's funny?
Yep.
Do you know what's funny is that you can also trace like the existence of funny enough, like if you really want to kind of deflect it from white people but not really, you can really trace it back to Italy, specifically with the Romans, because a lot of basically how a lot of Anglo tribes like ended up becoming an empire is thanks to Roman influences. Funny enough, you can technically trace it back to Roman to an extent.
To an extent, yeah. I mean, for
say,
instance, you've got the Romance
you know,
languages, haven't you? For instance, so culturally, the Romans were hugely involved in basically Western and Central Europe. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean,
Cultural Romanism.
then I would say that Romans were very much basically the white people of their day.
Yeah, and to be honest,
Yeah.
I don't even want this to be
sounds
like
right.
a white people thing, because had it been someplace else, some other time, in some hypothetical universe, who's to say that the Chinese wouldn't have done the same thing if they'd had the opportunity? Maybe, I don't know. But all I can say is what did happen, and white people done some fucked up shit.
Yeah. Well, I was going to slightly to divert us back to what was said a few minutes ago. You were talking about how we found left wing YouTube, like how we found our sort of the community we're all sort of a part of. And mine's a little bit different from everyone else's because I was already quite left wing and quite feminist when I sort of found everyone here. In fact, if I wasn't, I wouldn't have found people. But it's quite interesting. I'm sure you're all aware of who Lindsay Ellis is, formerly the Nostalgia chick. But
Yes.
pretty excellent video.
Another one I love.
Yeah, no, she's a really amazing content creator.
Did she like break from that guy with the glasses
Yeah, no,
thing?
she's long gone from that.
Yeah.
And
Oh, a long time ago, yeah.
Yeah.
it was frankly like she's better without them, to be honest.
What happened?
But
Absolutely.
I never heard anything about that.
She essentially like she didn't really feel comfortable using the sort of brand of Nostalgia Chick, and she also didn't really like the management of the site, I think, and she wants them to be more independent. But
I heard that from a lot of the previous content creators that the management doesn't care about any of the other like video producers except for the Nostalgia Critic.
Yeah, but no, I typed in her name because I knew she had a channel of her own. Typed in her name on YouTube, scrolled down a little bit, and I found the video by this guy, and it turned out to be Warcorp 666. It was literally 20 minutes of.
Oh my.
Yeah, no.
Oh, God.
I get back to our favorite locale.
Honestly, had it not been for Dick Coughlin, I would have never fucking heard of War Corps, and I would have been better off for it. Although then again, I probably would have.
Oh my.
I had a couple YouTube wars with that guy. It was funny.
Yeah, I know. Although, actually, to be fair, I did technically find. Although, to be fair, I might have actually come across it later from Kevin Logan.
Well,
And
Yeah.
but I mean, one of my. I mean, Dick Coughlin. Yeah.
Kevin.
Dick
So I found.
yeah.
Sorry, I'll just like finish what I was saying, and
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I found War Corps through the Lindsay Ellis search, and I just started watching his videos, sort of in awe of the guy, because yeah, he's a disgusting person, and frankly, like his views are so like ridiculous that it swings all the way around into sort of watchability. But just this guy yelling and swearing and sort of screaming at his camera, and I was in awe. And then I found the Descent of Manosphere episode on him, which is one of my favorites because of the fact that I've found it all through War Corps. And I started, it was in my early days of being on sort of social media doing this sort of stuff. Started like criticizing the videos he'd do in his comment section and sort of arguing with the people, War Corps, who watched War Corps, like so genuinely believed in what he said and stuff, which is a sight, I have to say, honestly. It's the people who are there, like somehow imagine War Corps but worse, and like that's essentially his comment section.
Yeah.
And War Corps being the sort of very reactive, aggressive person he is, like I leave a comment, and instantly he's like, "Oh, debate me," and I was like, "Oh, you know, okay, why not? Let's take him up on his offer." And that's how my first sort of venture onto YouTube like was. I debated War Corps in the 4-hour stream that some random geek mentioned earlier, and it was.
I don't know how you managed 4 hours. After an hour and a half, I'm like, okay, can we just end this? Because I'm gonna like, I mean, I didn't say that I'm gonna lose my shit, but I was just thinking in my head, I'm gonna lose my shit. Hand me the rubbing alcohol. I need to be so drunk that it kills me right now.
But no, just I find him so fascinating. Like I don't know what it is. I mean, maybe I just a bit of a masochist, but
yeah, I have to say, Owen, I agree. I could watch War Corps for days. It's like going to a zoo or something. You just think, I don't know what this creature is or why it's behaving the way it does, but I want to watch it.
But the thing is,
I paid good money. I want to watch
it's
this.
not like a complete. I don't think he's like a complete muppet.
It's so true.
I don't think he's like as unintelligent and ill-informed as he makes out to be.
Well, no, because when he's sober, he does an almost passable impression of an actual human being. But when he's drunk, and someone actually sent me once. They said there's a couple of recordings they'd done of like Skype conversations they'd had with him when he was absolutely like off his fucking face, right? He was so drunk, and it's the most ridiculous shit. He can barely string a sentence together. It doesn't make any fucking sense. He doesn't answer any questions.
Yep.
It's amazing.
Just
Stop drinking.
Some of his
mate.
videos. Some of his
Beer
videos.
is not-
He
beer is not
obviously
your
his
friend.
channel's his channel's like obviously gone because whereas they got striked. But he used to have like 3,000 videos dating back to pretty much like the early days of YouTube. I think 2007 or 8.
Yeah.
And some of his early videos, like he's normal. He's speaking like just the average person with a camera on YouTube, saying things. There's videos where he defends a woman from somewhat sexist criticism. He says, "Oh, leave her alone. There's no need to go after someone just because you don't like them." And it's like, wow, he's got actual human qualities, and he's actually sort of empathetic. And then you look about the sort of time that Anita Sarkeesian became sort of widely known by the crowd for being a feminist on the internet. and all of a sudden the content shifts to just like daily rants about her latest video and how she's a fraud and all the usual like nonsense.
But he does this. He's a sort of weird two-paced creature, Warcorps, in that sometimes he'll say something you think that's brilliant. Oh, well done. Like the video I've mentioned before, ESPN airs a gay kiss, where this bowling champion, at the moment of winning some bowling fucking tournament, kisses his partner, who's also a dude. And there was this big furore, and Warcorps came out and said, "Well, it's fine. He's just kissing his partner. Who cares?" You think that's brilliant. And he also went on to make a really great nuanced point about homoeroticism in sport and patting each other on the ass and physical contact and all this. And I thought that's brilliant. That's really great nuanced stuff. And then like the next video was him using words like fat hairy dykes and stuff. And you thought, for fuck's sake, Warcorps, you fucking prick. Like it's almost like Ron Paul. 10% of it's fucking brilliant, but that other 90% makes you hate him.
But
I actually kind of wonder if he knows what a lesbian actually is.
Yeah,
He's seen them in
he
the
thinks
films.
lesbians.
He sees them on the
Lesbians.
films, on the TV. On the
Lesbians are all just skinny white women with big boobs who just make out with each other in their underwear.
Is that not real? Is that not true? What?
See, one of the things
I saw it on the internet. It must be true.
Exactly. They wouldn't let it on the internet if it wasn't true, Ashley. Jesus Christ, woman.
I hate to break it to you, Kev, but no. I have to break it to you, but 9/11 trutherism exists on the internet, and so does Flat Earth Society.
Well, yeah, exactly. Checkmate, atheists.
Flat earthers around the world, come.
I love the intro sequence to his show. He's got a cooking or had.
Oh god, yeah. Have you seen the intro?
Make me a sandwich, right? Which is great. An amazing name, as if you'd ever call something that. Anyway, and it was essentially him cooking random, often not very definable chunks of meat on a big grill, and softcore lesbian pornography. You think, what? It's all called encapsulated. It's amazing.
I would go to his house and watch that live. I'm not even joking. I would pay to go and see him do that live. I've loved that show. It's just
how is he not, considering the stuff he eats and the amount he drinks? How is he not dead? It's ridiculous.
Gosh, I mean,
he's secretly God. He's secretly God. No, but fucking actually something that I've got to like is something that I really don't fucking or something that like really baffles me is that people think of lesbian like if you look at lesbian porn, people will think of that as like representation of lesbians, but the thing is that the majority of porn actor or porn actresses who do lesbian porn, the majority of them aren't even attracted to women. The majority of them are straight. And so like it's not even like genuine. They just do it because they make more money doing lesbian porn than they do doing straight porn. So actually there are straight guys who have done gay porn because it makes them more money. And then they take these drugs that to help them get hard because they aren't actually turned on by this stuff. And those drugs actually like really diminish the amount of like how long they're going to live. It really like fucks with their bodies.
Well, I mean, Warcorps isn't.
Yeah, they have to like. They have to inject it straight into their member as well. They have to go so far they eject the stiffening agent into a member. I have heard.
Just get a normal
that sounds
job.
painful.
Fuck,
But again,
why are
the
you
consumer-
injecting stuff into your cock?
Do regular acting if you don't want to. Oh my god.
Yeah,
Kev, don't knock it till you try it. Don't knock injecting shit into your cock until you try it.
I won't be trying it, and I am still going to knock it because it's fucking ridiculous.
Come on, you know that there's clearly nothing more fun than injecting stuff straight into your knob.
I don't like.
I don't even have one, and that sounds painful.
I don't.
I bet it is very painful. I'm just like making a joke.
But you look
They
at
actually told us that at school how like heroin addicts once their veins are all used.
You're telling me that you're not actually for injecting things into your penis?
My God.
No, I'm only for it for recreational purposes, not for performance not for performance enhancement.
Yeah, but you look at someone like Warcorp, and he clearly does not care about the nuances of the porn industry, does he? He's not going to be there like thinking, oh, well, it's actually, quite bad that this porn has been made for straight men, and there's been no consideration for what a lesbian might think of it, or what is going on behind the scenes in the porn industry. No, it's just some more
Well,
eye candy for me to
for
pay
start,
for
in order-
videos.
For a start, in order to care whether the woman was enjoying it, he'd have to care about the opinion of a woman, which he doesn't.
Yeah.
And of course, he only really cares about himself, if anyone. And he doesn't take care of. That's the thing. He only cares about him, and he doesn't even take care of himself. It's ridiculous.
In a lot of his videos, he's not even doesn't even seem happy as well. Like in his gaming videos, I don't know if you've ever seen or stumbled onto one of his streams. Like just someone will mention something in the comments and be like, "Oh, what do you think of this feminist?" And he'll fly into a rage. And it's not even like forced or anything. He's genuinely angry just at this mere sight of a name. Or he'll say like, "Oh, sorry, feminists, but you can't have this both ways." And
it's just. I think it's just over the top. He's just a hammer.
well, there's a mix. Like he's not only is it over the top, but at the same time, he is genuinely angry. I think he's one of the few who his reactions are often genuine. He's a genuinely sort of angered person over
He's a genuinely dickish individual. Yeah. Okay. I can go.
One thing I noticed was how angry he would get whenever he was responding to some body positivity thing that sometimes BuzzFeed will come out with videos with plus size women or just enjoying whatever, and he would be so mad about it. I'm just like, 1,000 first. You look like that, so maybe don't make comments about how these women look. Actually, some of these women are pretty cute. I wouldn't mind sharing a vegan pizza with them.
He'll do a story about I don't know, some sort of plus size model who isn't actually that plus sized, right? She's just regular
she's size 10.
He'll be like, well, she's packed on a few pounds, and I think, do you own a mirror, you cheeky fuck? What the hell's wrong? Look at you, like fucking Jabba the Hutt over there.
With his
Jesus
face
Christ.
that screams windowless fan.
And that's the thing.
Also, the fact that there goes Kevin. I'm sure we'll be back in a second. But Warcorp.
Yeah, people have been dropping out of the call left and right. It's just a weird connectivity thing.
Yeah, but Warcorp, the free market capitalist, he loves freedom and liberty. But how dare this woman not be my preference? How dare you not meet my extremely narrow view of what a woman should look like? Which all comes from porn videos that I've been watching for 20 plus years. It's just it's people take this person seriously. People.
Well, I mean, the thing is also not only that, plus size models, a lot of the ones that he'll criticize, that's the average weight of someone. That means that most people you meet. That means that most people you meet are actually probably going to be bigger than that.
Exactly. Yeah, that's like a median sized person. That's what just your average person would look like, And not just that, but that's the thing. I don't want to body shame him, but when he puts you in that situation, I think you have to, just for the case of being sort of intellectually honest. If you're going to criticize a woman who's 2 pounds over the average weight, when you are clearly several stone over the average weight, you've not got a leg to stand on, mate. Stop it.
Also,
and this is the thing. The problem I have with the anti-body positivity people is, what fucking difference does it make to you? If these people just want to be accepted as the size they are and they want to live their life, it's not making any impact on you. So shut the fuck up.
Their argument in response is usually, "Oh, well, actually, it's unhealthy or something to be large, right?" So
I've got a thing.
Me berating people and insulting them, telling them that they're fat or whatever. That's actually me trying to help them and motivate them to lose weight.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, they've found an excuse which vaguely works. Two quick points, actually. Sorry, and I'll let you go. Firstly, they don't give a fuck. They don't actually give two fucks about people's health. And secondly, some of these people are the most unhealthy on the planet.
It's an after the
With-
fact excuse for the fact that they like to
with
bully.
with Milo Yiannopoulos.
That's
For
the
instance,
only.
with Milo
That's
Yiannopoulos.
the only reason
Oh,
it actually.
Piper, come on now. I'm just
Oh,
trying to get a
sorry.
sentence out.
Sorry. Yeah.
One
Let
second.
the man speak.
With Milo Yiannopoulos, for instance, his whole thing is fat shaming, fat shaming. Fat shaming doesn't work, right? And also, he smokes, takes drugs, and was, I don't know if he still is, having unprotected promiscuous gay sex. That's three very, very unhealthy things to be doing, potentially, of course. You are not in a position to be telling other people about healthy lifestyle choices, you cheeky fuck. Anyway, sorry, yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, sorry about that. Oh no, you go ahead.
Something that gets me is that these people say, "Oh, we're just doing it because we care and it's unhealthy and like it's gonna motivate them to lose weight." Let me tell you all something. I was bullied for most of my school life from ages 8 to 17, about to the end of high school. About various things, one of which was my weight. It never motivated me to want to lose weight. It just made me like be miserable and sit in my room and eat junk food by myself.
Yeah.
That's what I'm doing now, but that's besides the point.
That's beside.
It's lower fat popcorn, so that's something. But anyway, it's like
Oh, that just means it
Yeah,
has
you-
more sugar. Oh, sorry.
Wow,
it's
really?
it's sea salt. But anyway, it's like, so it doesn't motivate people to lose weight. I've even like cited articles that say, yeah, fat shaming doesn't actually help motivate people to lose weight.
Yeah.
It's just like it's basically just like, how dare you be a fat person, usually woman, and be happy about it? How dare you? Get a life.
Exactly.
Yeah,
I mean, you look at.
How,
Sorry.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point.
how
you
dare
raised
you
there.
not? Oh, sorry.
I was just going to say, I think you raise a good point there, albeit briefly. It's almost always a woman that gets criticised for this. Like
Yeah.
I've said this before, when I've done streams with Christy Winters, for instance, she's sometimes reticent to go on without having makeup on and stuff. I just rock up looking like shit, and I don't really get criticised for it. Whereas she will be picked apart meticulously on her appearance, and that's a
Oh, yeah.
ridiculous double standard.
Oh,
Like
yeah.
if I look exactly the same as some woman, like the same weight, the same size, the same effort of appearance, I should be criticised the same, and that's not what happens.
Oh yeah, Kevin. Isn't this actually kind of a dynamic that I'm pretty sure this is a dynamic that I've seen between you and Christy Winters when you get insulted, because Christy Winters clearly isn't as much above the average weight as you are.
Yeah,
she isn't. She isn't even like particularly what most people would call like fat. Like
No.
she's not a twig, but like, she gets called she gets called fisty, she gets all this like shit slung at her
Yeah.
for being fat. While you might get the occasional fat ass or fat fuck thrown your way.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
You
exactly.
only
I'm
have
in
to
much
look
worse
at.
physical shape than she is, and I put no effort into my appearance, whereas she certainly puts some work in. And I get very little, and she gets absolute fucking horrific abuse. Yeah, it's
You only have
ridiculous.
to look at the fact that she's a woman who exists on the internet in spite of the sort of community that's dedicated itself to like pseudo rationality and being very good at pretending they're not right wing, or I should say, not very good at pretending they're right wing. And for that, she's targeted quite a bit. And I think you have to look at just all the like literally hundreds of channels, but just these cookie cutter like Christy Winters debunked, Kevin Logan is a scumbag.
Every
Just
time I turn- Every time I turn around, there's a new one.
Exactly, yeah. I mean, because I've got a bit of a guilty pleasure for sort of just like live streams and debates and stuff. So I come across quite a lot of them. And it's just remarkable how many people just have this same view, like literally the same view from one like maybe large channel that's focused in on Christie or whoever, and then they've got the exact same ideas. like not formed from any sort of like rational place, not sort of thinking about the wider world, just this one person on the internet I really loathe for some reason, because essentially like some large channel said, oh, I've got this cool video that debunks her, because that's something you can do, just debunk a person.
Well, this is the thing. I love it when 5 or 6 of these people who have, like you say, cookie cutter, exactly the same opinions, exactly the same stances on everything, get together and have a conversation where they accuse other people of existing in an echo chamber. It's brilliant.
And it's
and
I don't
ridiculous.
I think I don't even think any of these people really like each other or like spending time together. They just all love hating people. It's just like
yeah, pretty much. I mean, if you look,
that's
it's like the enemy.
That's not healthy.
The enemy of my enemy is my friend. Essentially, is sort of a mantra they all have. You were going to say something, Piper?
Oh yeah, sorry. If you watch them like when they're on Hangouts with each other, like if they do live streams, they have arguments all the time. Like they can't stand each other. They just like to hate feminists together or whatever.
Well, on that sort of note, actually, a delightful rift appeared over the weekend between 2 of my favourite, by which I mean most hated, members of the alt-right, the 2 guys behind America First Media, James Allsup and Nick Fuentes, who are truly scummy people who set up this little fucking media company and have fallen out only weeks into the project, and are now Allsup has kicked Fuentes from the thing, and they're now accusing one another of being a cuck, as they always do. And I'm loving it. I couldn't be eating more popcorn metaphorically.
Yeah, that reminds me of when, that reminds me of when fucking what's his name, Jordan fucking something and
Jordan Owen.
Arini.
Oh,
yeah,
Jordan Owen. There you go. Jordan Owen and Arini like tried to do the Sarkeesian effect, and they fell out with each other like while working on it, and like they started like throwing like ridiculous insults at each other, and the Sarkeesian effect went nowhere as a result.
Well, no, he did. He released Jordan Owen released one, and then Davis Arini released a sort of different version of the film. And I have to say, I have to hold my hands up and say I got it wrong. I thought they were only going to produce 1 shit film out of this, but they managed to produce 2 shit films out of it, and it's brilliant.
Yeah, but they're
both terrible.
Weren't both of them like extremely cut down, like not even documentaries, just like whatever they could like shit out, to fill the quota.
Yeah, it was a joke. I mean, like the editing. I mean, you would expect more from like a brand new YouTuber in terms of editing quality. It was piss poor. There was one. My favourite scene is when I forget his name. Nick Rublick is being interviewed in a hotel, and there's literally a pizza box behind him. And oh my god, what is you fucking absolute amateur dickheads?
Honestly, So Bad It's Good is like one of my favourite genres anyway.
And Jordan Owen's foot or hand is always poking in the side of the shot. Every single fucking scene. It's amazing. You think, how can you be this incompetent?
Did he do a video in the bathtub?
Yeah, he did.
He's done 2. He's done 2 videos.
Why?
But just in general, like, I mean, I love So Bad It's Good as a genre anyway. And then when you get all these people like Davis Arini, like Jordan, I remember like thousands of these like scummy channels where they like debunk people. I've seen so many videos of people like say, McDonald destroyed. I'm not even like a known person. I have like what? I'm 400 subscribers now. It's hardly like well known, but these people just like seem to take their like little internet spats as though it's like some big philosophical like academic debate and stuff, and it's like ridiculous.
I have raped Owen McDonald, a new asshole. Yeah.
I was going to go back to Jordan Owen in the bathtub. I was going to do a parody of that video. Yeah. I was going to go out and buy like a long black wig and sit there naked in my bath and film myself.
Oh my!
Rambling. I decided against it because I thought I'm not sure that I can pull off that level of sexy. I'm not sure I can do it.
Well, it's really hard to pull off the level of sexy that Jordan has achieved.
Oh, he's manliness personified.
Oh no! I think I think a
He's an
sexy
actual-
beast like Kevin would do just fine.
an actual but you don't understand though. Jordan is an actual Chad. Okay, he
Yeah.
goes to the the strip joints, and everybody there loves him. All the girls, they always going back with him.
He gets free dances.
Yeah.
Well, you can tell what a kind of creep he is, because in that film there are 3 people who are involved in the sex industry in a film about video games.
Wasn't he like talking
Well-
about in some video? Like, oh, I go to the strip club. This is where I got the joke from. Oh, I go to the strip club.
Yeah,
My favorite dancer, and he names her by name.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, he's a
It's like the
creepy dude.
yeah. Oh yeah, he's like. I mean, the funny thing though is like if someone's walking into a strip club and he's getting taken into the back by like a lot of the strippers, like the strippers are eager to do so. It's probably got nothing to do with how you look. Very little to do with how you look.
no.
It's probably because you're rich.
If I was a sex worker, right? I don't care how like desperate for money I was. I would not fucking touch that guy with a fucking 20.
Well, I can't. I mean, I can believe it because people will do anything for money. But someone fucked Donald Trump for money. Oh
Ugh.
God. Ugh.
Oh God! Why'd you put that image in my head?
But yeah, please don't. No, but
I mean-
I mean, he's produced a few kids, so his wife has had sex with him for free.
Well, that's
Which one?
We can at least put that down to like I don't know, being fucking deranged or something. I don't know, but it's just you're sort of soulless if you allow Donald Trump to do things for money. Oh God. Oh.
I mean, the thing is
Although to be fair, we know with his tiny hands, you're probably not going to feel it. You're probably not going to notice anything happening.
Good
are you?
God.
oh yeah.
We
Speaking of
don't,
yeah,
like, someone was saying something.
I was going to say I mean, if you're gonna go into like insults, one that was a bit less shamey. Also, the small hands thing. Even if someone does have small hands, that actually says nothing about their genitals. But one of my favorite things.
Okay.
Mitchell is still bigger in there.
It's a joke based on the fact that he's got ridiculously thin skin. I don't care if he's got a big dick or a small dick. He does though, and that's funny. So fuck him.
Yeah. Oh yeah, he's like, I assure you that everything is perfectly fine down there.
Yeah, exactly. Look, he went on international TV during a presidential nominee debate and bragged about the size of his cock. I mean, what the fuck is wrong with the man?
I mean, to be fair, Lyndon B. Johnson kind of has him beat where he would literally fucking talk with other like state workers while taking a shit in the bathroom. And he talked pretty openly about his genitals.
He called the jumbo.
Exactly, and of course, Theodore Roosevelt used to sign bills using his cock. That's what used to happen there. So that's a true fact.
Wait, what?
American
That's not
history.
I hope that's not true.
No, of course it's not fucking true.
It's not true.
I was thinking about that, and I was like, wait, are you like saying that that's an act, like that's a thing? Like
Abraham Lincoln.
How would you do
Abraham
that?
Lincoln
That even
falls on a
happen?
Liberty Bell.
He
How do you
It-
like pick up a pen and like how?
Oh.
It's called a prehensile penis.
Lovely.
Talent.
Oh my word!
That's
Bill
actually
Clinton got head from the Statue of Liberty. That happened. So.
People.
I don't know. I don't know. The Statue of Liberty is pretty attractive. I might say yes.
All right,
Um,
Rose. Thank you
She's
for
a,
that.
she's a
Would you say
She's
she
a
likes your
stone.
plane? Hey, come on now.
Oh yeah, she's got a heart of stone though, so it would probably be a no-go.
Okay, this is going too far now. Stop.
Sorry. Okay, but one of my
hand is
favorite.
starting to blush.
Speaking of insults though, I want to go to like Dick Coughlin talking when we were talking about War Corps earlier. One of my favorite statements about War Corps has to be when fucking talking about basically false rape claims. It's like it's like basically fucking Dick Coughlin is like well, this guy is this guy's such an important piece of shit, and he doesn't even look he doesn't look attractive, and he's like ugly on the inside. It fucking he would have to accuse himself of rape in order to like actually like even claim that he had like sex, because no woman would want to sleep with someone who a woman wouldn't want to sleep with someone who resembles their YouTube name. So unfortunately,
Well, one of my favourite jokes I ever did was, I suppose, in theory, is a rape joke, but it's not about rape as such. Was the in the episode about the amazing atheist, where I showed that he'd claimed that when he was 20, he'd fucked a 14-year-old.
23.
23, sorry, and he'd fucked a 14-year-old.
That's a 9-year difference,
then
might I add.
claimed that he was joking. And I said, well, that's the thing. You can't give me particular examples of anyone falsely accusing you of rape, except you. You are the only person who has falsely accused you of rape, you fucking idiot. And it's true.
Dick Coughlin in one video, like, that was in the War Corps video talking about that, but Dick Coughlin actually, the first time I heard about that was actually from Dick Coughlin, where Dick Coughlin had said that, TJ had claimed to have been molested as a child, but then also claimed that he basically molested a 14-year-old girl when he was 23. And was like, well, you just falsely accused yourself of rape if it didn't actually happen. Which, I mean, honestly, I don't know. If I'm completely honest, I don't know whether it actually happened and he just kind of rolled back on it because of criticism, or if it didn't actually happen, but he thought it would be a cool thing to like brag that he had had sex with a 14-year-old when he was 23.
I think this is sort of the guy, like, amazing atheist. I never liked him at all. I first heard of him like essentially. He's just his whole persona just didn't really appeal to me. But the more you sort of know about him, like less he appeals to you in a way. Like the more information I've learned about him over the years that I've been aware of him, the worse I've sort of thought of him. Which is why I generally tend to have no expectation of any of these sort of major figures in those circles.
Yeah.
And
well,
then
and
only
that's also
like just
Yep.
you
Sorry,
like,
you can finish.
no, it's okay. You go ahead.
I mean, yeah, that's part of why like I'm saying that like I don't even know, because TJ actually strikes me as someone who would try and brag that this happened even if it didn't happen. Like TJ actually strikes me as that like scummy of a person.
He really is.
The thing is that either way, whether he had lied about it or told the truth, either one is really fucking scummy and really fucking bad. So it, like, yeah.
But
he's just a bad guy. I mean,
yeah.
Oh Christ! Last year on Twitter, I just kind of was making a tweet thread, kind of talking about like it's not a bad thing to call people bad people if they act like bad people constantly and don't actually name names. I said, and TJ Kirk is a bad person. Blair White is a bad person. Undoomed is a bad person. Bering is a bad person. It's just like, and it's not big. And I said it's not their politics. They're just shitty people who do shitty things. And then a bunch. I think a couple of them retweeted that and retweeted to their followers like complete fucking cowards. And then I got dogpiled like, oh, you just say that because you disagree with them and blah 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 blah. And I'm just like, oh my god, are you serious?
I mean, I think the in general, just their like sort of community, you just don't need to like take them seriously. Like I don't when I make my videos or my tweets increasingly more and more, I'm sort of like, I don't consider them valuable political actors or necessary political actors. You don't need to discuss like capitalism or so this isn't intended as a criticism of you, by the way. I completely agree with what you're saying. Just in my opinion, like we don't like sort of like the recent what's it called, the Sean and Jen video he did about it's called White Men and Plans for 2018. At the end, where he says like you don't need to have all these discussions with people in those sort of communities. Like you just need to sort of talk about them, if that makes sense.
In Udall Studios, who did the excellent series of Why You So Angry, also talked about that in his recent videos of the alt-right playbook, where it's just like you don't debate them because they want to box you and just do performative arts for their audience.
Yeah.
Yep. Well, I mean, the thing is even if just looking at the practice of debate, like if you're on like a debate team in high school, the thing about debate is that you're not even expected to debate positions that you specifically hold. You're given a position that you're to debate from.
Yeah.
You're either debating for or against something, and you're kind of told what you're debating for. The practice of debate is literally the practice of being persuasive. It's not really the practice of being accurate or even the practice of logical reasoning. Now, also the thing is that like looking at the American presidential debates as opposed to like a high school debate, at least in a formal debate, there are some kinds of like rules around rhetoric that will actually like lose you points, that would actually lose people like that would actually lose people like Donald Trump points because of logical fallacies. But the thing is that if you're looking at like American presidential debates and stuff like that, it's literally just based off of how the audience does it. The thing is you can't expect an audience of normal people when debate itself is like basically considered this like niche thing.
Yeah.
Like it's already considered niche. So to like expect your average person to understand something that's basically been kind of like not allowed for them to like understand, it's not, so they're not going to necessarily see the logical fallacies of someone like Trump.
Also,
so his persuasion, it literally, debate is the practice of propaganda. It's literally about persuasion.
You could call me a bit of a hypocrite here because I've got like 20 debates or so on my channel. But no, I think you're absolutely right. Like debate, like it's not the way people should be learning and picking up their opinions, because like it's very easy if you can speak and express your ideas better than the other person. If you can direct your focus onto little flaws they've done instead of the entire argument, you can very easily win a debate. As the far right proved the other day on Andy Warski's stream, where they essentially like came out far better because like the people they know how to play the game, and if you can play the game, it doesn't matter how absurd your ideas are, you win. So for me, when I do my debates, whilst I do keep in mind that I want to try and have a sensible conversation, I know that it's not the best form. It's more in a sort of narcissistic way. It's a little bit of personal satisfaction. I enjoy arguing, and I mean that's probably why I do a lot of them. But
yeah, I get that. I have a similar approach to it as well. I think me and Owen are quite similar in that regard, actually.
Yep. Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the thing. Obviously, though, when I use the word propaganda, I'm not using the liberal definition, which is it's inherently wrong. I'm using the word propaganda as in basically pieces of, if I understand correctly, basically anything that's meant to persuade people, politically speaking.
Yeah.
I mean, so like political debates are literally about persuading people. It's not about actually being right and being backed up by facts.
It sounds like debate makes you a better lawyer as well, because the lawyers tend to have to like defend a position that they don't necessarily like believe in.
Yeah. Well, yeah, that's the thing about lawyers, is that lawyers don't really care about the rules. Like, they can literally know, like, if you're OJ's lawyer, if you're OJ's lawyer, and like, OJ could have literally told you, oh, I did it, I need you to get me out of this. You're his lawyer, and you're getting paid a lot of money. you're not going to say, "Oh, he did it." You're going to try and find every way to argue around it and pretend, and you're going to try and persuade people that the evidence actually is not overwhelming.
Yeah,
It's a game, really.
all in the game.
Yeah.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, even then, you look at some rich. A better example would be like basically any rich white dude on Wall Street that has actually managed to get out of like that has managed to get out of like proper punishment for their crimes. They may even do like some kind like that's why lawyers will also do stuff like plea deals where it's like, well, we know that they're not going to be able to buy that you didn't do it, so we're gonna do something like that you didn't mean to do it, or that like you're going to pay them back, and then they basically get out of actually properly paying people back. Yeah, I tanked the economy, but I'm just gonna pay a few $1,000,000 back, and we're all good.
Yeah.
I'm no longer a criminal.
I'm very sorry to sort of curtail the conversation because I was enjoying it. I'm sure, I hope that all of you were as well.
Yep.
Yeah, absolutely.
Excellent. But it is currently 2:10 in the morning in the UK, and Kevin and I are obviously not nocturnal. So we are sort of going to have to sort of wrap this up, and perhaps maybe another time do a similar stream, because it was a lot of fun. I think it's good to have hangouts where I'm not at odds with someone. I've got people on who sort of share views and can just sort of talk civilly and nicely to each other and have a laugh and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, especially after your last part of it versus Ian. Oh my god, that guy.
yeah.
I won't talk about it anymore.
I don't know if any of you saw my debate with Ian, but essentially this he was quite an abrasive, I guess rude person, really. Like
Ian,
Yeah.
Miles
Conway.
Chong. Oh, Conway.
Oh,
I was like,
God, I'm not debating.
I'm like, don't. I'm like, yeah. I mean, you lasted 4 hours where I couldn't last an hour and a half. Like I could hear War Corpse cracking beers in the hour and a half stream, and I'm just like, oh my god, you're not even taking me fucking seriously. I'm done.
I like it when he.
What did you debate with that person you're talking about?
Oh, Ian, capitalism, and he didn't. Let's just say he's not a fan of anti-capitalism.
Okay.
On the topic of War Corps, just to before we go, War Corps cracking beers. He did an entire video called "Owen McDonald is a moron," or like so Owen McDonald is showing Owen McDonald is a moron.
Oh my.
It's in response to a comment I left on one of his videos, which I'll admit it was quite a long comment. I've addressed quite a few things he said in the video, and he did a 20-minute video response to it. And it is honestly, I saved it to my computer, and I'm tempted to re-upload it to my channel because it's too good not to be seen. Like,
That's weird. I would never do a video response to someone's comment. I would just do a comment response, or just completely like ignore it or delete it or something.
He said, "I want it. I'm going to do a response to it," and he's.
Well, anyone who's watched my series reading from the Book of War Corps will know that War Corps can't really write, so he's
Nope.
obviously.
Why did he put them on flipping Amazon store to be read? Barely, like, he just typed it out when he was drunk and like just.
Oh,
yeah,
it's
Final
ridiculous.
Cut counts.
Wait, he has what?
Yeah.
What?
Got a self.
That is-
and he's basically, I think he has an allergy to the comma. His punctuation
Yep.
is just ridiculous.
Let me guess. Like every paragraph is like one giant long run-on sentence.
Basically, yeah.
Nice.
Sometimes they don't even have full stops or periods at the end. So the sentence just floats off for eternity into the ether or something. I don't know. Ridiculous.
Anyway,
No pauses, no full stops.
it's a
I think I think that's how we can wrap this stream up.
Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure with streaming with all of you.
Yep.
And I'm really grateful that I can be around such fit people who just have left-wing views all around the world, basically. Because I know it's America and the UK, but
You're good people.
Exactly, everyone here is good, and I hope to do more like this and be on other people's streams in the future. To everyone who watched, thank you for joining us tonight. 400 subscribers, a milestone of sorts. Hopefully, we'll be getting many, many more. So thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. Adios.
Bye.
Adios.
Peace, love, and stay hydrated.